in the halacha, in Yeridea, that's the second section of the 4 sections of halacha called the Shulchan Aruch, the set table, in chapter 266, halacha 3, 4, 5, and 6, he describes how the circumcision is to be done. He says after the cutting, the mohel does what is called mitzitza, and mitzitza means to suck, and it means doing so with his mouth. And one could say, well, why can't you use a tube? Well, you could, technically, but it's not the custom as to how it was done. Now, why is it that way? Well, you could say that in the olden days you didn't have tubes. Now you can have tubes, so why not? The answer, as I thought about it, is that it's not as effective because the tube does not seal as well, it's not as pliable, and furthermore, it's not as quick and it's not as close. You have to have a quick suction action, you have to have more pliability, and also there's the theory, some people feel that it is, some people feel that it's not, that the saliva of a human being has some antiseptic qualities, and it's actually brought in the halacha of the Talmud that the saliva of certain people were actually used as curatives. And so saliva is not a bad thing. Saliva has elements of cleaning, of antiseptic elements within it, and the other part of it is that the suction process of the mouth is quicker, more pliable, and it's more exact and works much better. Now, this of course is technical. So I thought, is there another element to the idea of mitzitza b'peh that I might be able to communicate with you? And this is not authoritative. So relax. If I'm wrong, fine. Then I'm wrong. In his translation of the book called the Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation, which is a basic Kabbalistic handbook that the priests had control over for hundreds, if not thousands of years. In his treatise, Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan says something incredible. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. There are 20 digits on the hands and the feet. And that prior to being born, the head of the fetus is seen to be near or on the genitalia, because the body of the fetus is folded over. The head is folded with the legs. And this is seen, he says, by the Zohar, that the mouth and the genitalia are together with the 20 elements, the digits, and that this is an expression of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Now, what is the genitalia and the mouth? What do they have to do? What do they represent? The mouth represents expression. The genitalia represent the passionate connection that one has to someone or something else. The mouth is also symbolic of the receiver, symbolic of the female element within the human, within the male, and symbolic also of the female. Malchut, kingship, the Shekhinah, the divine presence, is seen as the mouth that speaks Torah. It's also seen as the receiver for all of the divine forces of energy that come from the higher levels and are expressed through the Malchut. Very much like the mother receives from the male and develops all of the limbs of the child, and then the child is revealed through the womb of the mother. And a whole living, thinking, creative human being is created through the womb of the Malchut. And so creation comes from Malchut, and Malchut relates directly to the mouth that speaks truth, to the mouth that prays properly and says the words of Torah that are holy. This is the symbol of the Jewish woman, the one who speaks truth, who fulfills the Torah, expresses goodness, and then, because of that, will have a living, thinking, holy human being expressed from it. The genitalia allows for the connection of the 20 elements of the persona. 20 elements of the persona come together between male and female. And these 20 elements combine to create a living, breathing child. But it has to go through the process of the purification of the mouth with the genitalia. The idea behind it is that for a holy soul to be revealed, there has to be holy genitalia and a holy mouth. And since the child can't do it by himself, perhaps the mohel, who is supposed to be a holy man, provides that ability of the connection between the genitalia and the recipient, which is the mouth, representative of the female. And that once the holy soul of the child enters through the process of the circumcision, because it says that the holy soul only enters the child at the moment of circumcision. Until that point, the holiness of the soul does not enter the person. And then the soul, the holy soul, can then work through the person, the physical person, and work through the genitalia, bringing a holy soul into the womb of the recipient. And that's the unity between the genitalia and not the mouth, but the concept of the mouth is receiving of the ideas and thoughts and feelings which we express. So the woman is seen as the articulator of all that she receives from her husband, from the seed, and that develops and becomes a living child. So the idea behind Metzitza B'Peh is to accelerate and to initiate this process that the holiness that is now being expressed in the entire body into the genitalia itself as well, that this should become directed and focused in the proper way toward the proper receiver, which the mouth is only symbolic of the proper Jewish woman who is to be the receiver of the seed to develop a proper Jewish child. And so this is seen as the process of unity, of unification, of unifying one level with another, so that later on in life, the person will be able to feel unified with his chosen mate and her chosen mate. Because you see, when you see a woman, if you're a man, you see her only as a sexual object. Women don't see necessarily men as sexual objects. Some of them do. Most of them don't. But men, for better or for worse, see women as sexual objects. If it's an object of your passion, it's not someone you want to be unified with. It's someone who you wish to function with and then toss out. It's only a matter of convenience. But if you want to feel unified with that person, then you want to be with that person all the time. You wish to share things with that person. And so the process of the Metzitza is to initiate and to represent that there's to be a unity of the male and the female. It's not meant to be two separate worlds just for convenience.